Good morning, grade 6. How are you all today? As promised, I will be talking about the Chinese and the Roman civilization. I suppose all of your PPTs are ready. Okay. After all the research work you've done, I am sure this lesson is going to help you. Okay. Now, the Chinese civilization or the Huang Ho civilization. What did I tell you that day in the class also? It was also known as the Huang Ho civilization. Huang Ho civilization is one of the oldest civilization of the world. It was developed along the Huang River of China. According to the historians, people settled there about 5000 BC. So the people settled there around 5000 BC. Okay, E. Okay, before Christ era. The Chinese civilization grew around the three rivers of China, and the three rivers were the Huanghe River in the north, okay, then the Yangtze River, Yangtze Kiang, Yangtze Kiang River in the center. Okay, these are the names of the rivers, okay? Yangtze Kiang River in the center and the Kiang River in the south. Okay, now these are the three rivers around which the Chinese civilization actually developed. Understood? Now, in Chinese, the term Huang refers to yellow. The word Huang refers to yellow. What does it refer to basically? Huang means yellow. And why was why is it referred to as yellow? Huang flows through the North China plain and makes the region very fertile. Now, this river flows through the North China plain and it makes that region very fertile. Okay. Now, by loess. Now, there is something known as loess, okay, which makes the river very fertile. And loess is what? Loess is yellowish soil blowing off the Gobi Desert onto the North China plain. Loess is basically yellow soil. Okay, it is actually nothing but yellow soil and it flows through the North China plain. Loess is yellow soil which flows through the North China plain, and in North China there is the Huanghe River, and therefore what happens is that this river keeps on flooding. Okay, and because it keeps on flooding, itni baad aati hai, so what happens is that the loess keeps on getting mixed in the water of the river, and loess is basically yellow soil, so that makes this river, gives it yellow river. It makes it give a color of yellow, and because it gives it a yellowish color, then what happens is that this thing becomes yellow river, and it is also known as the sorrow of China. So Huang River is also known as the sorrow of China because it keeps on flooding. Okay, now the dynasties of in China. Let's talk about the Chinese dynasties. Now this point is clear, all of you? Okay, this point is clear, crystal clear? Yes. Okay, now let's talk about the Chinese dynasties. Okay, dynasties. Okay, now let's talk about the dynasties in China. The Chinese history was divided into several small dynasties. A dynasty refers to a series of political rulers belonging to the same family. A series of political rulers, and then this forms a dynasty. Then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. This forms a dynasty. The series of political rulers forms a dynasty from one family. Okay, the Xia dynasty was the first dynasty of China. Now there is a beautiful flow chart given out here, which I will be making for you. Okay, so the dynasties of China would be like, the first one would be like Xia dynasty. Okay, I'm writing it in short form. Then it is the Shang dynasty. Shang dynasty. Okay. Then it is the Zhao dynasty. These are the important dynasties. Okay. This is Zhao dynasty. Then it is the Qin dynasty. It is Qin dynasty. Then it is the Han dynasty. The Han dynasty. Understood? The Xia dynasty, the Shang dynasty, the Zhao dynasty, the Qin dynasty, and the Han dynasty. Okay, the Xian dynasty was from the year 2205 to 1575 BC. Okay, now the Shang dynasty was from 1570 to 1045 BC. Okay, now the Zhao dynasty was from 1046 to 256 BC. Okay, and the Han dynasty was from, okay, sorry, this is the Zhao dynasty, 1046 to 256 BC. Okay, and the Qin dynasty were not given the time period, and the Han dynasty is basically 206 to 220 BC. Understood? Now let's talk about these in detail. Okay, now have you understood this flowchart? Dynasty, the Xia dynasty, the Shang dynasty, the Zhao dynasty, the Qin dynasty, and the Han dynasty. Okay, this says that the Xia dynasty was the first dynasty of China from the year 2205 to 1575. Okay, the real history of the Chinese civilization begins with the Shang dynasty. Okay, this is the place from where the real history of the Chinese civilization began, who was succeeded by the Xia dynasty. After obviously Xia dynasty, there was the Shang dynasty. During this Shang dynasty, people started building houses of timber. Timber means wood. Okay, I've already told you this. Okay, the wall of the houses were made up of wattle or daub. Okay, people of China worshipped many gods during the Shang dynasty. Okay, the pictograph is nothing but a picture, and they started using pictographs for writing. Pictographs was nothing but a picture. So suppose they have to talk about a cat, so they will be, they have to say that there was a cat, so they will show it like this. Okay, this is how they were, basically they used a pictograph for writing. So suppose they have to talk about heart, so they would make a heart like this. Okay, like this. They would not write H-E-R-A-T, H-E-A-R-T or something like that. Okay, the pictograph is nothing but a picture that stands for a word. They became skilled at making jade carvings and hardstone carvings. China's longest dynasty was the Zhao dynasty. You can see it was the longest dynasty. According to the historians, the dynasty was divided into two periods. This dynasty was divided into two periods, the Western Zhao and the Eastern Zhao. Okay. Agriculture flourished during the Zhao dynasty. The main crops during this period were rice, wheat, and fruits. Silk production from the cocoons of worms was also developed in China. Silk was used to making cloths and rugs. Okay, the Eastern Zhao dynasty was known as the Golden Age of China. Now, this is what was known as the Golden Age of China. Many popular philosophers like Confucius, we've heard so much of Confucius. There's so many games, there are so many puzzles of Confucius. Games are obviously now, even I keep on playing them. Confucius was born during this period. The people of the Eastern Zhao made many advancements in the field of irrigation that I've told you. The use of irons was used to China during the Zhao. Iron used to make tools and weapons in China was brought a revolution in the world history. Obviously, iron brought a big revolution in the world history. In the earlier times, many different states in ancient China fought with each other to increase their kingdom. In 221 BC, the Qin Shi Huang or the Qin dynasty gained control over China and became China's first emperor. Now this one. In the year 221, there was a king, that was the Qin Shi Qin Shi Huang. There was this king who formed this Qin dynasty, okay, in the year 221, okay, BC, obviously. And this guy became the first emperor of China. Okay, the world famous Great Wall of China was constructed during the reign of Shi Huang. There was a king, he was Shi Huang. During his reign, the Great Wall of China was formed or constructed. Then comes the Han Dynasty. Okay, Han Dynasty was from the year 206 to 220 BC. Okay, was a very influential period in the Chinese history. The Han Dynasty was divided into again Western Han and Eastern Han. This was again divided into Western Han and Eastern Han. Okay, now the Han Dynasty, many things such as paper, ink, steel, compass and porcelain were invented in China during this period. The popular Silk Route, the great trade route connecting China with many other civilizations of the world, started during this dynasty. This route was used to export Chinese silk. The Chinese civil service was established for the first time at the period of Han Emperor Gaozu to run the government. So we've talked about the dynasties of China. Take care. I am sending you the handouts today. Please read them. Happy learning. Do Google. Thank you.